Hi guys, we're back from the video, and today I just want to give my thoughts on the first three Scream movies in preparation for Scream 7, because it's my favorite horror franchise, and one of my favorite franchises in general. I love these movies. I'm really excited for Scream 7. So I'm rewatching all of them in preparation for Scream 7, so I was getting right into it with number one. Number one, I absolutely love this movie. It's my favorite horror movie, and it's my third favorite movie of all time. I mean, just what can I even say about this movie that hasn't already been said? It's just such an amazing movie. Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies. It's my third favorite movie of all time. So yeah, it's easily the best Scream, easily the best horror movie. And I love a bunch of the other screams, but this one's just so good. And yeah, I absolutely love this movie. Just everything in this movie is great. The performances, easily best final girl ever, Sidney Prescott, easily, obviously. She's obviously easily the best final girl. She's easily the most interesting, best performed, best everything about her. She's such a good character, and she's a great character. Okay? And obviously, spoilers for all of them, but spoilers for all, at least the first three, but most likely the other three. So yeah, if you haven't seen them, you've been warned. But obviously, Billy and Stu as the killers, a great twist. Because when I first watched this movie, I knew that there was two killers, but I didn't know who the killers were. So I was at the end, I was guessing, is it him and him, or is it her and her? Is it him and her and all that stuff? Right, but such just a great reveal with, Stu, because Stu might be seen as the obvious one. And then Billy, the genius of the reveal, is that, you think you think that Billy isn't the killer because they're making it too obvious that he's the killer. Right? They're making it way too obvious he's a killer. And there's no way he's a killer. He's a red herring. That's what you initially think. But then the fact that he's a killer it's just version of expectations, because you expect him to be the red herring because that's what he seems to be setting up by. But no, there's actually Neil Prescott, the father. So, and then Stu, the other killer. And just all the performances, like Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich, they do a great job as the killers. Nev Campbell as Sydney. This is an amazing job. Also these are my Billy and Stu are my two favorite Ghostfaces. My favorite Ghostface is Stu. My second favorite Billy. So yeah, they really peaked here. The opening scene is absolutely amazing with Casey, Drew Barrymore, Casey Becker. Even that performance is really good, and Steve. Just all the stuff. The voice of Roger L. Jackson's Ghostface is obviously absolutely amazing, and just this fact that it's starts off friendly, and it's a flirty thing, and then it quickly turns very dark into this very sinister game. It's such a fun scene, and whenever I watch it, I was realizing this time watch around, I was realizing how much I was quoting the movie. I knew a bunch of lines. It's like at the start of Scream 4 with the first Stab movie. At the Stab-a-thon, they're all quoting the movie. It was like that, but for me and Scream. So, yeah. The gores, and the kills are just really good here. A lot of people complain about the Tatum death, and it's yeah, it's not realistic, but it's whatever, it's fine, it's not that big of a deal. But and then I just really like all the kills here. Even the way they take out the killers with the TV to the head, with Stu, and that's a really creative kill for a big move fan who's a killer, and yeah, this is a great kill if you believe he's dead, which he definitely isn't. I don't care what they say. Nobody is ever gonna convince me that Stu's dead. I really hope he comes back as a actually alive for 7. But yeah, it's everything. The writing, the directing, it's just all perfect. This the music, the sad. They capture the perfect sadness in the right moments, and perfect creepy and eeriness in the other right moments. And just the gore is really good here. Obviously with the opening scene with Steve getting gutted and then Casey getting gutted. But yeah, and they really do play the mystery off. It's the mystery is really great, obviously. So yeah, but speaking of more stuff, I'm really there's just everybody's talking about this movie because it's just such a good movie. I really like Randy, Dewey, Gail. They're all great characters. Um, my favorite character in the franchise is Stu Walker, but yeah, my second favorite would probably be Sydney, but I don't know who's after that. But yeah, I mean, just such a great movie. Like, I don't like absolutely amazing movie. Like this is like my love of horror movies does like mainly stem from this movie. Like I wouldn't be as interested in horror movies and like slashers and stuff if it wasn't for this movie. I think this movie's just absolutely amazing, phenomenal, and obviously with it my third favorite movie of all time. And just like I rewatch it so many times, and like it never gets old. It's such a great movie. So yeah, I mean I know that was kind of quick, but like I mean everybody said everything about this movie, so I don't want to know exactly what it says. I mean, I absolutely love the movie, and yeah. Anyways, but next, next movie, the next movie in this franchise is Scream 2. Now, this is gonna be very unpopular opinion, but this is easily my least favorite Scream movie. I don't want to say easily, yeah, but it's pretty easy my favorite Scream movie. Okay, and I'll get into more about why, like, Scream. A lot of people's least favorite is Scream 5 or 6. Oh, it's not maybe about Scream. That's I'll get into why I really like those movies, and obviously I'll get into why I like really like Scream 3, which is also a lot of people's least favorite. Scream 4 also a lot of people's least favorite. So obviously they're both a lot of people's least favorite. Obviously, but also yeah, just getting into why this is my least favorite one. I mean, okay, first off, there is a weird kind of tonal shift in the first movie. First movie was both perfectly fun and perfectly dark, and this one's like sad stuff. This one sometimes kind of misses out on the sadness, and just like the music, although it's like I think they use a lot of the same stuff, a lot of times just doesn't work as well for the scenes, or just isn't just as good. Which I think that's a big issue with the tone, and then the issue, yeah. And there's obviously a lot more issues. First off, a lot of people say, "Oh, this movie is a lot more gory." It isn't a lot more gory, and like the movie kind of promises you, "Hey, this movie will be more." I feel like a lot of these movies promise you that it'll be like something else. But okay, one note for what's really good about the original Scream movie is that it's a little bit true. First off, it was supposed to be called Scary Movie, but then I think Harvey Weinstein wanted them to change it, which is awful that he's such involved with this movie. But yeah, I mean, it came from like this title Scream came from a Michael Jackson video, so yeah, like a Michael Jackson music song. Sorry, but yeah. Anyways, but then like in the original script, Gail, Sydney, and Riley and Randy, they're supposed to be the only ones who lived, and it's kind of cool because each of them commit one of the sins. For Sydney has sex, Randy drinks, and then Gail says, "I'll be right back." Right, so they each commit one of the sins, but they each live. But on the day of filming, originally, dude was just supposed to be wheeled away, and he was supposed to be dead. But then, Wes Craven decided to be like, just give like a little thumbs up or a nod, just to show that you're still alive. Right, and then so then he did that, and then yeah, now he's a fan favorite character. He's like one of the biggest characters. Anyways, moving back to Scream 2. This isn't entirely the movie's fault because I mean just I don't think there's a bad Scream movie. Okay, I like them all. But this whole thing is entirely the movie's fault because like there was a lot of script rewrites and a lot of different things happened. Now I would really like a hybrid of the both original script and the movie we actually got. I'll get into the original script a little bit later. But just talking about the movie stuff, obviously, as I said, all the tone and stuff. And then, the movie kind of, at the start, when Randy's telling Dewey the rules, he kind of establishes, we're going to have more kills, which we do, but we're going to see more, elaborate death scenes. And I feel like it's really just a lot more stabbing. And, like, sure, you just throw her off the building, but, like, it's mainly just stabbing. And then there's a couple ones where like with the car and the cop, but like that's about it. Like maybe like, there's a gun death, but like it's mainly like just stabbing. Like it's not. Well, the death scenes aren't always much more elaborate. And then like also like the entire weird one that like, oh, this movie's gonna have more blood, carnage, candy. It's like no, that's not how this movie goes. First off, you're setting an unrealistic expectation. Look at the first, and it's not even like 100% for being more tame, but they are 100% more tame. A lot of people say they're less tame because that one kill with the cop. Sorry to pause the video there for a second. Just finishing my point quickly. It's not more death scenes. There's no gut. There is not a single cutting in this movie, and I think that if you, sorry to pause the video there for a second, but where was I? Oh yeah, I mean, okay, if you're gonna promise us, if you're gonna promise us, I mean, look at us. If you're gonna if you're not gonna have as much gore as the original, then it's fine. The MPA and all this other stuff, studio meddling, whatever. But then don't promise us more gore than the original, unless it's a clear subversion of the rules, similar to the first one. Well, that just doesn't work, right? It's not a clear subversion of the rules. I feel like a lot of times people are taking. I feel like the issue with all these sequels is that people take the actual things way too literally. Like the original, it makes sense why Randy was saying the rules. It was a joke. It was a party game. They were killing around. It was just fun, and it was just like they were messing around because they're teenagers. It wasn't like, here's the guide to survival, and here's how you have to avoid the killer. It's like, no, okay. But I feel like every other Scream movie since then has been like, here's the guide to survival. It's like sort of like like in like Stranger Things, a lot of criticism that people had is that sometimes they would be like that they would for like if they're to name something after a D&D character, for example, the Demogorgon, the Mind Flayer, Vecna, a lot of times it would be like, I don't even really 100% remember them doing it, but I do remember Hopper asking about how to defeat it one time, which was weird. But a lot of times it would be like, here's the exact guide to defeat it. When it's like, you don't know anything about this actual monster, you're just naming it a D&D thing, and then you're saying, here's how to defeat it if we're using the rules of D&D, which you're not. But like, I didn't really find that completely with Stranger Things completely accurate. I don't really remember when they actually did that and like busted out their book. It's like, here's exactly how to defeat it. No. But you know, that is not the same thing here. Now, in this movie, Randy talks to Dewey, and Dewey's like, who is the killer now? Tell me how to survive this, And then Randy's like, okay, here's how to survive this. Like, no, Randy was joking around in the first one. And sure, at the end, he kind of says, I never thought I'd be so happy to be a virgin. But, like, that was a little more of a joke, and it just, I don't even know. But, like, that's not, like, a perfect line either, but, like, the first movie, they got that right because they're acting as if they're in a movie, which they are, but, like, they don't know that. So, yeah. So, it's kind of stupid that, like, if you want to, like, see what they're doing, okay, there is sometimes it works, like, if they're seeing what is based off, like, the movie. For example, if they're, like, trying to, like, figure out maybe the killer's motive. For example, I think it's Scream 5. Like, Scream 5, I think, probably messes this up a little bit. I'm sorry. But, I think Scream 5 messes this up obviously a little bit. They always kind of do. But there's a specific part where Mindy is saying, oh my god, the killer's making a requel. So now they could go by logic, the requel logic, to see sort of what the killer's trying to do. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean... I'm sorry, I had to pause the video there for a second, but, back to the movie, but, like, if they're to do the whole Scream 5 thing, I think the best of Scream 5, whatever, I'll get to that when I get to that. But, like, in order to do that, that's, like, kind of, like, it's a little messy and stuff, but, it's fine, whatever. But, however, the main issue that ever is that, Randy, and they'll do this in other sequels too, Randy is acting as if these movie logic rules apply to the real world and their real world. And I know they kind of apply here, but still. Ultimately, it's kind of a stupid thing. Okay, and Scream 2 was really the one to fully introduce that. But yeah. And I didn't really like that a lot. But yeah, I think that I'm still getting into my negative here with ultimately obviously the killer reveal here. A lot of people find I know one person kill count like James or James was just stupid. I mean, Mickey Altieri, or I can't really pronounce the last name. Something like Altieri or something like that. It's something like that. Whatever. I like that killer reveal. Okay, I actually think he's a fun subversion of Randy. And although sure I would have liked him to be prevalent in a more recent scene in the movie, he's still a character, and he's still a main character that's been set up to be a suspect. It 100% works. The killer reveal that I don't like in this movie is Nancy Loomis. And okay, I have nothing against this killer reveal. I think done really well. It could be a fun, really good homage to Mrs. Voorhees. And I think that they, with the performance and even the way they explain it, I think it's all really good. My issue is that she's not a main Debbie Salt was not a main character, okay? That's like, you know how they set up in the first movie that, like, the cop was, like Dewey's, like, boss was, like, was, like, supposed to be, like, they said the movie's like, oh, see, but that twist doesn't work because he's just not a main character enough. Maybe for another slash franchise, but the Scream franchise, no, it doesn't work. He's barely in the movies, in a couple scenes. He's a secondary character. Sorry, I had to keep clearing my throat, sorry. But, you know, it's just, there's, like, if I'm thinking of more examples, I'm really sorry about that, but, like, I don't know if Joel was the cameraman in this movie. If Joel was the killer. Joel the cameraman, if he was a killer. By the way, Joel the cameraman, one of my favorite characters in this franchise. I love the fact that he's like, I'm in a murder place. Your last cameraman, Kenny, he got killed. I'm leaving here. Like, so yeah, I'm leaving this place. I'm just, yeah. I do love that. And you know, there's, yeah, the whole big thing in Scream 5 where Sam is like, we're gonna do what nobody else does in this situation. We're gonna get the fuck out of Woodsboro. And then they try to leave Woodsboro. Obviously, there's more stuff there. But I do love the fact that Joel was the original one who did that. Obviously, it wasn't Woodsboro. It was Windsor College, but it still works. But yeah, I really don't like the killer reveal of Nancy Loomis. And I think there's a quick, easy fix for this. You still get to have the reveal, but essentially, instead, you have Debbie Salt in some way tag along, similar to the to woman who, like, you know, the Miss who plays I forget her name. Is it I forget her name. What is it? Like, is it Jennifer? No, it's not that. It's not that. I don't know. In Scream 3, you know, the actor who plays Gale. I forgot. I'm just blanking on the name. The actor who plays Gale, she tags along with Gale, even though Gale doesn't want to tag along with her. She's kind of insistent, so then she's like, fine, whatever. She's just an annoying presence there. Wouldn't it be a lot better of a twist if Debbie Salt like annoys Gale, but then she's like very insistent and she tags along with Gale and Dewey on their little side quest, right? I honestly think that's just much better than just her barely in it. I do really like Timothy Olyphant's performance as Mickey. I think that Mickey's a really good killer. Now I think that a better version of this, because the script leaked, and then they had to rewrite it. So that's probably why this movie isn't as good. But like, obviously, I just getting some of the positives before I talk about that. Like, the killers, I still think the performances are really good, and the twist for Mickey's still good. All the characters, I think that all the action's also really good, similar. I don't really like how they killed off Randy, but whatever, it's fine. Like, you know, I really like Cotton Weir in this movie. I think that he's a great character. I'll talk about him in 3. Big thing that I hated at 3. But I really do like Cotton in this movie. I think that he's such a good character. And because, like, he is a little bit of an asshole at points, but he's always understandable of why he's being a little bit of an asshole, right? You know, he spent a year in prison. He was almost killed, right? So, yeah. And she won't even, like, then she won't even like try to like help him in like, especially because all this stuff. So yeah, there he has real and like just like really like his character at the end with him being the one who kills Nancy Loomis. But yeah, I mean, I think Gail and Dewey's relationship is really good. Honestly, like it's just there's a lot of strong suits, but these I think that Derek's a great character. I think that Hallie's a great character. But, like just the negatives like outweigh the positives a little bit. Well, it doesn't really outweigh it, but like it's enough to make it just a worse screen movie. I even like the opening scene. I really like the opening scene. But yeah, whatever. Anyways, moving on. The original script, I would have preferred a hybrid of this and the actual movie we got. The original script, it was essentially the killer reveal was that it was Mrs. Loomis. Okay. And I prefer the movie we got because the movie we got is better than the original script. But at the same time, I'd prefer a hybrid of both, like where you cut out a lot of stuff from the other script, but bring in some cool stuff. So essentially, the killer reveal was that Mrs. Loomis was the killer. Same thing. I like the thing. Obviously, I would prefer to read it more. But then Hallie was a killer, which I think is a great twist. I really like it. And like then, but like also like you only have those two killers, and that's might not be the greatest killers because I don't just know there's it could be really good, but I don't know. Then you have the third killer, which I think is really good, but it's actually Derek, which I don't think works at all because it was Billy Loomis. And then then Mickey's supposed to get killed. Mickey's death scene is really cool, where he gets tied to a tree and stabbed by two ghost faces at the same time. That's really cool. And even like with Hallie and Derek, I think they're really cool. Like I think like even like the fact that they're crazy. I think I would have really liked that to be Mickey instead of Derek, and then Derek could die the same way Mickey did, or the same way he did in the movie or whatever. And then essentially they're supposed to frame it on Cotton, and then I think. So then they would have still killed Randy the same way, but then they would have killed Dewey. Like when he gets stabbed in the back, that would have been that he would have died there, and they would have like unveiled his body. But yeah, he would have actually died there like fully. I don't know what happened to Gail, but essentially they're supposed to kill off them and frame it on Cotton. But then I think that somehow Sidney kills both Derek and Hallie, and then Cotton manages to escape, and then he stabs to death Mr. Loomis, which. Okay, fine, whatever. But then, then Cotton stabs Sidney to death while Sidney stabs Cotton to death. That's so stupid because first off, then Cotton's evil. Second off, I like the fact that there's three killers here. Fine, whatever, they eventually do it. But I hate them both dying. I hate them both dying, and I hate Cotton turning evil. I hate it. I just absolutely hate it. Sidney should not die, and then Gail probably dies in the original script. Or at least it's implied that she dies, like her eyes closed after being like stabbed 1,000 times. So like, yeah, she's dead. So I mean, the hybrid is have Mickey, Hallie, and Mrs. Loomis be the killers. Have some similar stuff you could, but like ultimately, you still keep a lot of stuff from Scream 2. But yeah, I mean, just like the movie isn't great, but it's still good, and I still like it. Okay. Because there's not a bad Scream movie. Like every rewatch time, like if I were to rewatch the franchise, I used to be like when I was younger, I used to be like, oh my god, I'm rewatching Scream 2. Fine, I'll watch it. Like it kind of holds you back when, like even if you're rewatching the show and there's a really bad episode come back, you either skip it or you just kind of get like help, like just like hold it back and be like, I'm just gonna wait a little bit. It could even mess you up if it's like an entire season. Like you might like never rewatch that show again because you're still trying to watch that one season, but it's so bad you can't get through it. That used to be my kind of my mentality with Scream 2, but then over the years I'm like, okay, Scream 2 is actually a pretty good movie. And from the right movie and stuff, it could be really good. And moving on to Scream 3. Now this is most people's favorite, and I would say it's not mine. And okay, Kevin Williamson, he's a great writer, and I'm excited to see what he does for directing Scream 7. But overall, I know we didn't write this movie, but obviously his original screenplay would have been better, okay? I'm a big Stu truther. Stu is alive. But, like, his original script, like, I haven't read it or anything, but, like, I know the ending twist, and that sounds just great, okay? But, however, I do really like the Hollywood aspect. It's taking the madness to the next level. I think that was a great idea. I think that Gale and Dewey's relationship is like some of the best that's ever been done. Like I think it's also really great here. I think that Sydney's role, even though it's small and should be bigger, it's whatever scheduling conflicts or whatever with Nev Campbell, limited stuff. So yeah, I still think that she's really good. I think that a lot of the performances are really good, like with Tyson, Roman, and I forget her name again. Like the the actress who plays Gale. I think that's all. I can't remember the actress who plays Gale. Not Courtney Cox, like in the movie Stab. Um, but yeah, I think that all those performances are really good. And I think that she's really fun. Even if there's like convenience, like even like the guy from Family Guy and Skylanders Giants, who's a security guard and gets stabbed to death. I think that he's a good movie. Even the voice changer, I think it's not realistic for the time, but it's I think it's actually pretty good, and the way they use it's really good. I do still like the voice changer, even though it's not realistic for the time. It's still pretty cool, and it does. And there's always been a voice changer in Scream. It's just taken it to the next level, kind of, and having him change an Andy voice. Um, but yeah, I feel like everything is just this is a really good movie, and yeah, it's not perfect. Okay, first off, talking about opening scene, big flaw. They kill Cotton in the opening scene. Okay, Cotton was one of my favorite characters in Scream 2. I really liked him, especially this time around. Like I really liked him in the past, but like this time around I was even like more like him. I think he's such a great character, and then they kill him off as the opening scene victim in this movie. It's like, are you serious? Like, why not like have that be like anyone else? And it's just so stupid. Another thing this movie does, it promises stuff that you're not gonna get. Okay, just like last movie with more cotton candy, like more gore and stuff. It promises the fact. It kind of promises, or really like, heavily implies, like, oh my god, one of the big three, they're gonna die. Like security's gonna die. They're all gonna die. It's like, no, nobody dies. Like I guess Cotton dies, but that's not. He doesn't really count. And I'm not even saying I want them to die, but just like, you could be like, oh, you're at risk more so than ever, but like, there's a better way to do it than kind of and heavily imply that one of them's gonna die. And I think that Roman's a really good killer. I think that he gets a lot of shit. I think there should have been two killers. I do believe there are two killers. I mean, if you look at the chase scene and the set, there's no way that there is one killer there that's choosing Sydney. I believe that Angelina was the second killer. And that, obviously, because that was the original script. She was supposed to be the second... Well, not the original script, but the original script written by Aaron Crooker. She was supposed to be the second killer. I really like her character, but like I think that they should just made her the second killer, and I think that it would just make sense for her to be the second killer. They really only make sense to be at least two killers, but whatever. Roman, I still think is a really good killer. And I like him. I like the fact that the director is a Ghostface. And a lot of people say, okay, I need to address something that a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people say, without having really rewatched Scream 3, and they don't get it, a lot of people say, oh, I think it's stupid that they made a third killer for this original Scream. They shouldn't affect that. They shouldn't. Did you not watch the movie? There was a part where he says to, and also like they say, some people think that like Billy and Stu are just lying about having killed Maureen Prescott. No, he says it himself. Some people say, I don't know, they don't pay attention and they miss something. It's not a lot of times it's not against them. It's just like, come on, man, pay more attention. But like, there's literally a part in the movie where it says, or also people were like, oh my god, it's Roman in the bushes from the original Scream. A lot of people think that Roman was the one in the bushes and in the grocery store for the original Scream. No. He literally said, I had no idea that they were going to make their own movie. Something along the lines, that's an actual quote from him in the movie. Meaning, I had no idea they were going to kill more people. I just wanted to kill Maureen Prescott. And then he decided to kill Sydney off Joe. That's different. I honestly think that a darker twist would have been for this movie. I don't know if it was in the original script or not. I think that a much darker twist and a much better twist would have been, like, if Roman was the same age as Sydney, and then maybe they move up the stuff in Maureen's timeline a little bit to make her like have Sydney right to make her like have Sydney right after Hollywood. I think a darker twist would have been if they were actually like twins, and that like John Milton was their dad for both of them. I think it's implied that he's Roman's dad, but if he was both of them's dad, and then Sydney's father wouldn't be that. I think that's a darker and much cooler twist, and would even more so reveal stuff from the past that Sydney wasn't like her, who she thought was her dad, wasn't her dad, was like essentially her stepdad. Like I think that's a much darker twist and it would have been a much cooler twist, but they didn't go for that. It's whatever. But yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously the blood isn't much, but you can't blame it on this. That the school shooting in Columbine happened, and then the studio was like, oh, you can't have teen on teen violence. That's why they even cut it a little bit. Originally, they even said, can you the studio even said at one point, make this movie without any blood in it, and then Wes Craven fought really hard back, and I was like, okay, you can't have a little blood, but you can't have too much. And then yeah, I mean, there's also like, okay, I'm gonna say this, the Scream franchise is way ahead of its time. I forgot to mention this, but yeah, there's stuff in even further movies there's really ahead of its time. If you look at the second one, I want to start with the second one. If you look at the second one, it's way ahead of its time because I'll talk about more of what Scream 4, 5, and 6 and other movies, why that's ahead of its time. But the first, like, I just the whole like does movies create violence? That's the whole thing that like actually happened, because like two people actually like killed someone based the entire murder off of Scream. So like, and like there's obviously conversation with that and other stuff, and there's a lot of conversation with that even today. Like I remember, like I'm pretty sure like for the Joker movie, a lot of people were convinced that the Joker movie there would be a mass shooting in the theaters. I mean, there's a mass shooting in the theaters of like The Dark Knight Rises, I think. But yeah, and like I think that's all bullshit. That all that stupid shit. I think they would have killed anybody either way. But like I think that just like even like their commentary is kind of the same thing. Like Mickey's like, oh, I'm gonna blame the movie, and it's like, well, you would have killed people either way. You were killing people before the movies. I mean, Mrs. Loomis said he was an active serial killer before that. So it's like, so like Cindy says, you're a sick fuck, and he's like, oh, that'll be our little secret. So yeah, but obviously, I mean, yeah. So that was always ahead of its time, and then with this one, it was even more ahead of its time because Harvey Weinstein was the executive producer on this movie, and obviously there's like a whole, producers and raping women stuff, and that's obviously John Milton is in the movie, and like I think it would have been, that's how Roman was born, and I think it would have been a dark twist if that's how Sydney was born too, if being her twin, I mean his twin, and then yeah, I mean that would just be more messed up, and yeah, but yeah. But yeah, that was just it. I think, so yeah, and there's more stuff with the other movies. I'll talk about them when I get to them. So yeah, but I do really like Scream 3. Yeah, I think I even found a creative, fun way to bring back Randy with the videotape. So yeah, and yeah, I think that those are my thoughts on the first 3 Scream movies. Ultimately, I love the first one, like the second one, and I also really love the third one. I think all the movies are really good movies. But and I'm really excited for Scream 7. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.